Hey all, welcome to ShareTrek. Are you a person living with HIV and you're wondering which country you can go to live, which country you can go to work, and which country you can visit as a tourist without any hassles? Then this is the video for you. I'm going to disclose a resource that you can use to find out information about any country in regard to your travel plans, your immigration plans, and your work residence plans. Let's get started. Here we are on an internet website, and this particular website has got very small prints, so it limits how much I can discuss with you on the video. But I'm going to show you a few countries that are very popular and give you an idea of what kind of information you can get here. But first, let me talk a little bit about this website. I'm expecting this website to be more dynamic because they have a news section out here in which they talk about changes to visa regimen, data breach, and various information that are important for people living with HIV, so that before you go or before even you buy a ticket or apply for a visa, you should visit this website so that you know what is happening in which country. For example, there is this article out here from 2012, refusing a residence permit to a foreigner because he was HIV positive was discriminatory. Now, you might want to click on that article and see which country it was and what was the judgment and what effect did it have on their visa policies. And the most latest news article out here is dated 2019, 5th of February 2019 or 2nd of May 2019, one of those things. It says visa restrictions for HIV positive immigrants still in place in dozens of countries. So you have news items where some change has happened in the status quo and it triggered a news article. Those news articles are captured out here. Then it has got a survey of HIV related travel restriction database. So you go into this drop down menu and you can look at any country and get more information about it. We'll do that in a moment. But staying on the home page itself, categories of restrictions. So you can select various categories for which you want to see countries. So you can say countries without restriction, and it will show you a list of all the countries where there is no restriction for people with HIV. And you can say countries with an entry bar so that you don't even consider them. So it will throw up a dozen countries where there is an entry bar for anyone with HIV, regardless of whether you're going for tourist or whether you're going for immigration or for work permit. It's totally ban. And then there are countries with restrictions for short-term stays. And then there are countries with restriction for long-term stays, and countries with unclear laws or practices where more information is needed, where you could be at a risk if you reach there and if something happens. So you want to be careful about where you're traveling, so you can check these out. And then countries without information, and also countries deporting people with HIV. So if you're living in a particular country and working there and you're not a citizen of that country and you find out that you have HIV, then you need to get legal advice and you need to prepare your state of affairs because those countries deport people with HIV. So this information would be very, very useful for you to see if the country that you are working in has got a policy like that. So this website, in my opinion, is very important. I'll put a link to this website in the description so that you can click and check it out for yourself. Now, let us go into the main menu of this. So I'm going to select a country out here. Let us start off with countries without restrictions, which is the most positive way to look at it. So you have this drop down menu out here where you can actually choose a country and see what the country has got. And you have this drop down out here where you have all the criterion that we spoke on the homepage: countries without restrictions, countries with entry bar, countries with restriction for short-term stays, etc., etc. So suffice to say, I'm looking at countries without restrictions, and I've got 7 pages worth of countries, and it starts alphabetically: Afghanistan, Albania, etc., etc., etc. And you could say that you want to go to, let us say, Australia. So I'm going to select Australia out here and say go. And in Australia, you have no restriction for tourists, but in residence permit, you have got HIV testing, which is important for permanent residence visa. So you have to keep this in mind. Australia is going to want a HIV test, and it's going to use that as part of its criterion or deciding to whether to give you permanent residence or not. And there is Additional information, a residence permit will only be granted to HIV positive people who meet the criterion listed below. And visa applications, if HIV positive status is declared, applicant is subject to health requirement assessment. And all the information is here in this fine print down here, along with extra information on legitimate sources. So they provide the name of the legitimate source whom you can contact in order to get more specific information and assistance. It gives you the postal address, it gives you the phone number, the fax number, and it also gives you email address and the website for that institution. So there are at least 3 institutions listed out here that you can approach for some guidance. So it's a very, very good website. Now let me go back and let me look at countries with entry bar. And I'm going to make it choose any country so that all the countries across the world are covered in this. And I'm going to say, okay. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 countries with entry bar at this point of time. These are Brunei, Equatorial Guinea, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Russia, Solomon Islands, United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. These are the countries which have got entry bar. So if you're planning to travel, I would say that don't consider any of these countries in your list if you are a person living with HIV and plans to travel either for tourism, work, or anything. So that's one way of looking at this. And then the next thing I could do is I could say that countries with restriction for short-term stays of less than 90 days. Again, I have a list of countries. This is a little bit more than the ones with entry restrictions. And in this you have Bhutan, Brunei, Egypt, Equatorial Guinea, Iraq, Jordan, Kyrgyzstan, Marshall Islands, Russia, Solomon Islands, Suriname, Syria, and Tunisia. And the same way you can go on, and you want to go and let us say you're working in a particular country on a work visa and you're not a citizen of the country. You want to go out to see countries deporting people with HIV. So there's a list of countries. So for example, if you're working in Saudi Arabia and you discover that you have HIV, this is the first place that you want to come and check. And you find the country that you're working in is on the list out here. So the first thing you want to do is to find a legal representative who can represent you in the court. Talk to them in confidence and find out how you can handle your situation so that you can plan your affairs before you get deported, and make sure that you got all the ducks in a row and do all the necessary paperwork and comply with the law of the land and make a graceful exit. So this is a very important resource. So I would suggest that you should look at this resource before making any decision for traveling. So there you have it. It's a state of the world in terms of travel for people living with HIV. There are lots of destinations in the world where you can go as a tourist even though you have HIV. Make sure that you carry your ART with you and it is properly labeled, because in some countries, medicines that are not labeled properly, that do not have a prescription, will be removed in the customs when you're entering. So you have to consult the consulate of the country that you're planning to visit about how they treat ART medicine if you carry it in person. And if they say that they do not allow you to carry ART in person, but you have to buy it when you reach the country, then you can always find out through the sources given in the website, the various sources that they have listed. You can contact them and find out what kind of a prescription is needed so that you're eligible to get ART. Once you arrive out there, what is the cost for ART? Are you going to get subsidized ART? All these are very important considerations, because imagine you took your ART with you, went to a particular country, you got the visa and everything for travel, and you land there, and the first thing that happens is in the customs, they look at your medicines and they say, this is not allowed into the country. And what do? Because it's going to be a huge expense. ART would be expensive if you're not covered. So you want to find out all these details before you exit your country and enter that other country. Even for that matter, even before you apply for a visa, or even before you buy a ticket to that country, you got to make sure that you understand all these things. So the resource that I have spoken to you about, the link is in the description. So scroll down into the description, check the link, go into the website and check the country that you're traveling. And go to the contacts that they have given. Each country has at least 2 or 3 legit resources whom you can consult, and reach out to them and find out what happens to people with HIV who reach the country. What kind of ART do they get? Check the ART that you have and see if you can buy that in that country. Consult with the consulate and find out if you're allowed to bring those ART along with you when you cross the customs and go into immigration in that country. And if the consulate says, yeah, that's not a problem, ask them what other things that you have to bring with you to make sure that your ART is not confiscated at immigration. So you might probably need a prescription, and you may probably need proper labeling on top of the medicine. Maybe some countries need that it should be labeled, it should be sealed, and it should have a prescription. All those things you can find out from the consulate. And the next step that you want to do is you want to reach out to the organizations that are listed in the website for that country that you have selected and check from them what happens if you lose your baggage and you end up without any ART and you want to buy the ART. So do you get subsidized rate? Where do you go to buy it for subsidized rate? And if subsidized rate is not available, how much will it cost you to buy ART? Those kind of information is what you need so that you can enjoy a trouble-free holiday in the destination that you are going in. And if you're planning to immigrate, you want to know what weightage your HIV status plays in your possibility for getting an immigration permit. And once you get immigration, what is the cost for you to live in that country with regard to obtaining ART? Is it going to be absolutely free, or are you going to have to pay a certain percentage? All of that information you can find from the consulate of the company, and also by visiting the reliable links provided for that company in the website. And you can reach them through email, you can reach them through their website and look at their FAQs, or you can call them, because all those mode of communications are presented, contact details are presented in the website. So I hope, friends, you found this very useful, and you can forward this video to other friends of yours who are people living with HIV and who want to have a better understanding of traveling. Check out that website. If you have any queries, put that in the comments below and I'll see if I can make a separate video to answer those queries. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.